Fen Hampson, Professor of International Affairs, Carleton University, joins us now. Sir, good evening and thanks for your time.
Good evening, Akshay.
So another day, another tariff threat from President Donald Trump, and that 2 days after he said it was okay for Canada to have a deal with China. What is your assessment of this threat and the flip-flop from the president?
Well, what's the expression, here we go again? Trump is dressing up a tariff relief arrangement between Canada and China as a major trade deal, which it isn't, to justify a political tantrum because our prime minister played David against his Goliath at Davos. It's not a legal complaint. It's a political one driven by Trump's peak. But I think, there's a bigger question here, Akshay, and, where is Trump headed with this? He's not going to impose 100% tariffs on Canada because that's going to cost American consumers heavily. Just think what that will do to the price of gasoline. We supply something like 40% of oil to the United States. He's not going to do that. But directionally, and he said this in his tweet, he is deeply worried about Canada and Mexico becoming conduits for cheap Chinese goods entering the United States.
Right.
And as you noted, we're about to enter USMCA renewal talks, and we're going to come under enormous pressure to impose the same level of tariffs as the U.S. on China and other U.S. trading partners as the price for keeping some version of CUSMA or the USMCA intact.
I'm so glad you bring CUSMA up because that was going to be my next question to you. Looking at the tensions here in the past few days, especially whether it was the Prime Minister's speech at Davos and Trump saying that Canada lives because of the U.S., the Prime Minister responding to that. Then, as we know, he rescinded the invite on the Board of Peace for Canada, so on and so forth. So much is going on. How does this really play in terms of negotiations with CUSMA? Because it's the same deal that this president had okayed and signed on in his previous term and now says that it's not a good deal.
Well, actually, that's a great question. And the Prime Minister's strategy has been to strengthen our hand at the bargaining table by sending a message to the Trump administration that Canada has other dance partners out there, one of them being China, potentially. But I think where this is going to go is that Trump is going to put a grand bargain in front of us, and that is to be inside the American tariff wall or outside of it. And that, as I said earlier, is really going to put our prime minister in a very difficult position because he is under enormous pressure already from the business community to do a deal with Trump. 75% of our trade is with the United States. We know which way they're going to jump if we're presented with what is, to all intents and purposes, being inside a North American customs union or outside of it. They're worried about losing access to the U.S. market. So, yes, we're going to continue with talks, but Trump, I think, is sending a signal here that we're going to have to run a gauntlet, and he's trying to take away that trade diversification card from the Prime Minister.
Fen, I have just about 30 seconds. Can you also highlight the hypocrisy in all of this? Because we know that Trump is expected to visit China on his own. And when heads of state meet, well, there are some deals that are signed. So,
well, the hypocrisy here, you're absolutely right, is stunning. I mean, just months ago, Trump struck his own understanding with Beijing that brought down those tariffs that both countries had applied against each other.
Right.
As you pointed out, he's going to Beijing. He's already said he won the trade war with China. So, it's pretty rich for him to say, we've eased our tariffs on China and then raking us over the coals for essentially taking us back to the status quo ante before we got into a trade war with China.
Right. Okay, we'll have to leave it at that tonight. Fen Hampson, enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure, Akshay.